So if you're a coach, or if you're thinking about becoming a coach, trust is critically important. Why? Because you can't influence or lead people if they don't trust you. It's that simple. It comes down to a matter of integrity. Do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you follow through on your commitments? If you do that, people will begin to trust you. They know they can count on you. If you don't do that, they'll not have that same experience. So I want to talk to you about 6 ways to build trust with your coaching clients. Number 1, and this is pretty simple, but I'm surprised at how many people don't do it. Number 1, show up on time and end the coaching session on time. Don't give yourself the luxury of being a minute late or 2 minutes late or it's no big deal. No, if anything, be early. You should be the first one on, waiting on them. This communicates trust. It looks like you've got your stuff together. If you're organized and can show up on time, it sends a subliminal message that you're somebody they can count on. Number 2, show up with a positive attitude and be fully present. This is critical because if people don't feel like they have your undivided attention, they'll start tuning out too. They'll start having a secondary conversation in their own mind about why you're distracted. So don't allow yourself sort of the luxury of trying to do something else at the same time you're in the middle of a coaching session. And if you do want to look down and take a note or something, then explain that to the client so they know you're not doing something unrelated to the call. So you might say, oh, by the way, I'm just going to take notes here. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. So again, critically important, be fully present. There's nothing more important in your world at that moment than the client who is paying you for a specific outcome. You want to give them your full, undivided attention. Number 3, be supportive and non-judgmental. In other words, you want to create a safe space for them to be vulnerable. In fact, I would say that the results you get for your clients, the results they get for themselves, are directly related to their ability to be honest and vulnerable about where they are right now. All progress begins when we acknowledge the truth of where we are right now. So there can't be any hint of shame or you correcting them or criticizing them. No, you've got to create that safe space, be non-judgmental, and I would say to go a step further, whatever their behavior is, try to normalize it. Not because they want to stay in that behavior, but they need to know that they're not alone. And it's very typical for me in a coaching call to have my clients cry. Yes, cry. Men and women. Now, I consider that an honor that they're willing to do that because they consider that session, they consider me to be a safe person and this to be a safe space for them to be totally honest. So you want them to get to that level because you can make more progress, faster progress, the more honest they are. Number 4, this is related to number 3, keep your conversations 100% confidential. You need to think of yourself like you would think of yourself as a priest or a marriage counselor. You're going to keep these conversations 100% confidential. You might be tempted to share some details of this later with somebody. Don't. It's not worth it. You've got to stay quiet. People have to know that they can count on you for confidentiality. If it ever gets out that you shared something in a coaching session or gets back to the client, that pretty much destroys the relationship. They no longer trust you. They no longer feel that you're that safe space where they can share their deepest fears, their greatest longings, and all the rest. Okay, number 5, follow through on your commitments to the client. Now, typically in a coaching session, the client's going to be making commitments that they want to follow through on, and you're going to be their accountability partner. You're going to hold them accountable to what they commit to. But it only works if in those situations where you've made a commitment to follow through, that you actually do it. So maybe you're going to make an email introduction to a podcast host and they want to be on that podcast. If you said you're going to do it, do it. Don't drop the ball. That breaks trust. Plus, you're modeling to them what it looks like to keep commitments on a regular basis. This is critically important. So again, don't drop the ball, follow through on your comments or your commitments. If you can't follow through, let them know in advance, or if you can't follow through because something else got in the way, own it up front and tell them you're sorry, you didn't get to that, but you will get to that immediately or as soon as you can. So then follow through. I mean, occasionally you can get a pass, but it better be very infrequently. Number 6, and this may seem unrelated, but this is huge, send them session notes quickly, same day if possible. So after every call, we put together a bunch of session notes. So it's going to be usually the video itself, a transcript of the call, but then a summary. And we have a specific format that we share for that. But we want all the commitments to be really clear so that they know what to follow through on. So I've got a doctor, for example, on the West Coast. His practice sends me the session notes from our Zoom meetings, because I meet with him via Zoom, and I get those same day, usually within an hour of the call. That builds credibility with me, so I just trust him. None of my other doctors do that, and I trust this doctor more than any other doctor because he follows through and gives me those session notes so that I can do my job and get value out of that session, ongoing value. So there you have it, 6 ways to build trust. Let me know what you think, but if you want more lessons like this, I'm actually doing a free webinar that you can register for. You can find that at fullfocus.co/lessons, and I'm going to share some of the most important lessons I've learned as a 7-figure business coach. Hope to see you there.